Good morning, afternoon and night to whoever might be watching this video. My name is Rafael Bezerra and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to talk about the film Scream from 1996 directed by Wes Craven. This is now an already established classic. Everyone, being or not a terror fan, will immediately recognize that iconic mask used by the killer. But when talking about my first impressions, I guess that I didn't expect the movie to unroll the way it did. I had read in many places that this was a parody of the subgenre of the slashers, and by the same time that this is indeed a parody, it also isn't. Well, to begin with, the slashers were a tendency in American cinema beginning in the 70s with films such as Black Christmas and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, to really gain force along the 80s to then lose a bit of the public interest in the 90s. We had true masterpieces among those films, as much as we had plenty of projects that would simply follow a formula. In Hollywood, it would always happen within what was currently drawing the viewer's attention. It happened to the musicals, to the westerns, to the noir films, superheroes, and here with terror. After some time, a cliché formula is discovered and then just repeated over and over again. In the slashers, it was very easy and safe to do this, so much that we basically could predict what was going to happen. Moments as the girl running up the stairs instead of getting out through the door are almost cultural right now. So what could be better than a film that is totally conscious of this?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, come on, you know I don't watch that shit.
Why not? Too scared?
No, it's just what's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Wes Craven certainly was a true fan of those films himself, what adds a lot of careness to each moment that the film plays with itself. But more important than it being a fan movie made to the fan, is that it was a movie made by someone who actually knew what he was doing. Wes Craven started with more serious and way darker films such as The Last House on the Left, but before the metalinguism of Scream, there was the sequence of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Its not so remembered sequence, New Nightmare, is aware that it is a sequence itself. The actress from the first movie, Heather Langenkamp, returns as herself, as many other actors, and even Wes Craven appears as being the director himself. The story is exactly about filming a sequence. It totally breaks the fourth wall. In between the only two movies of the franchise that Wes Craven actually directed, there was 5 sequels, and as the public was losing interest in those movies taking its own repetition seriously, it would all culminate in the auto-conscious terror of the 90s. Scream from 1996 might be the total synthesis of this idea. It is not a sequel or either has any previous basis but the old genre. More than occasional explicit reference like the Fred Krueger joke, the film is an entire reference itself. Even the killer for the most part operates as a generic one that can be related to one of his precursors. And talk about genericity, one of my favorite moments is when the first victim gets surprised because he guessed her boyfriend's name, which is simply one of the most obvious possible. Every slasher movie might have at least one guy named Stevie. And a specific aspect of this film comes at those moments of dark humor. This, for example, is clearly a joke, but the thing is that the supposed artificial terror doesn't stop during it. There is no pause in the background music or any cinematic resource that highlights the humor behind it. The film simply continues pretending to be a slasher. What I mean is that it is genius how the film, even having corny dialogues and fourth wall breaks all the time, still managed to be a terror film, not necessarily meaning that it is scary, but one coherent in its own narrative. In parts because the characters are aware of the existence of terror films, but not that they are inserted in one. Just this element of metalinguism wouldn't be enough to tell a good story, but this is actually aligned with the narrative and not overpassing it. The character knows that he shouldn't go up in a terror film, but here in real life, there is no choice. Until the great revelation of the ending, you may also wonder how far will the metalinguists go. One of the best jokes is the killer identity, and after some point, the film itself points at every single one as a suspect. After all, everyone acts like a psychopath. When the film itself trespasses the line of knowing what a viewer would normally expect in a scene, it gets unpredictable. So it makes you wonder if it is a parody or a terror on its own, or perhaps the perfect mix of both, resulting in something unique. Those were my thoughts on the film Scream from 1996 directed by Wes Craven. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and to check my Letterboxd page in description, and I see you all in my next video.